Hi, Pastor Gallagher here. Welcome to the Victory Hour. This ministry is brought to you by the Lord's people at Clayville Assembly in Forster, Rhode Island. Our website is clayvilleassembly.com. You can contact me, email info@clayvilleassembly.com. Let's get right to the subject. I want to close the subject matter we've been on. We're talking about the insane place where we are as a culture. The crazy, insane place we are as a world. Because when someone, as I've been saying, someone hit the stupid button, in reality, it's a button that says revolution. Because this is intended. It's not that the powers that be that are pushing what's happening are stupid. Well, they know what they're doing. It's just that they're evil. The Great Reset. Anti-Christianity. Corralling the people under their thumb. That's what this is about. And it does seem like someone hit the insane button. We're putting up with nonsense. In a saner day, we'd already be fighting. We would say, we're not having this. We're like sheep being led to the slaughter. I pray that God would intervene on our behalf. You know, we just went through Reformation Day. I hope you celebrate a Reformation Day at your church this past week. I mean, we did at Clayville. And we remembered the Protestant reformers and how God's hand worked in history through that movement. And the result of that Reformation was brought to these shores by the Pilgrims. And they laid a Christian foundation for this nation, unlike any other nation. Really, unlike any other nation. We're in the process of losing everything. The country's becoming like a third world country. There are fundamental, basic, staple medicines. They can't get their hands on them. The manufacturing is bad. You order a pot for a car and you're going to have to wait 7 months. The food shelves end up being empty. They can't get people to work. They're perverting our children. We ought to be at war with those that want to do that. They're perverting our children. It's an attack. It's child abuse. It's sickening. And they basically tell the parents to shut their mouths. And the implicit message is, we own your kids, and we'll do what we see as being best. And they'll box the parents right out. I mean, it's all crazy. We're going to get rid of fossil fuels and destroy America and empower communist China. Where do you think that's all going to lead? Someplace good? Have we no remembrance of history? And I've been bringing this out, a few programs ago, but I was reading from 1 Samuel 8. I'd like to read a little bit of it again. Israel had asked Samuel, the prophet Samuel, if they could have a king, because Israel never had any kings at that point in their history. And they were tired of not having a king and a standing army, because that made them feel secure. When God was their king and they got in a jam, the Lord might raise up a judge like Gideon or Samson, and they never knew where he was going to come from, but the Lord would supply with the supply they needed when they needed it. But they got weary of that. Their faith grew weak, and they asked for a king like all the other nations. The thing displeased the Lord, because the Lord said to Samuel, look, Samuel, they haven't rejected you by asking you this. They've rejected me, because I was their king. The Lord says, okay, I'll give you a king. But then the Lord informed the prophet, and the prophet informed the nation, you want kings? That's what you're going to get. And do you know what kings are going to do? You know what centralized government will do to you? And the prophet Samuel went on to explain what centralized government would do to the people. And Samuel told all the words of the Lord unto the people that asked of him a king. I'm reading from 1 Samuel 8, verse 10. Verse 11. And he said, This will be the manner of the king that shall reign over you. He will take your sons. He will take your sons and appoint them for himself, for his chariots, and to be his horsemen. See, Junior won't be out in the barn taking care of the horses and fixing that wheel on Dad's chariot. Not going to be happening. He's going to be doing that for the king, for the government. Dad's on his own, thank you. And some shall run before his chariots. In other words, your sons are going to run as bodyguards for the king. They won't be helping you out. And he will appoint him captives. Speaking of the king, they wanted a king, they're going to get a king. This is what comes with kings. And he will appoint him captains over thousands and captains over 50s, and will set them to ear his ground and to reap his harvest. Again, Junior is not going to be out reaping the harvest from your fields. No. He's going to be doing it for the king, for the king's profit, and to reap his harvest, and to make his instruments of war and instruments of his chariots. And he will take your daughters. It's despicable when we contemplate the drafting of our own daughters. Don't we have men enough here in this nation to fight for us? It's an embarrassment. I wouldn't want my daughters going to a battlefield. No. I love my daughters too much. Ever want to see that happen? Their brothers may have to go to defend the nation. Well, that's part of the price of being a man. Not always easy. But to send our daughters to fight our battles, it's an embarrassment. And he'll take your daughters. Now here, it's not to do that. They had more wisdom than we do. He'll take your daughters to be confectionaries, and to be cooks, and to be bakers. Well, they're not going to be cooking in mom's kitchen. They'll be cooking in the king's kitchen. And he will take your fields. Okay, wait a minute. So the government's going to take your property? Well, did you ever hear of something called the property tax? We all rent from the government because of the Marxist government schools need us to cough up the money, and the vast majority of your property tax is going to support Marxist government schools. And you pay for it until the day you die, not just while you have kids in school. You'll be 80 years old, you'll still be paying for it. How much money do they need? Are they making good use of it? Apparently not. He will take your fields, the kings will take your fields and your vineyards and your olive yards and the best of them, and give them to his servants. And he will take the tenth of your seed and of your vineyards and give to his officers and to his servants. See, government always takes care of its own, the establishment swamp class. Oh yeah, their tax rate was 10%. The judgment of God. What is our problem now? 10% to us is like chicken feed. This is the corruption of consolidated power. It always works out that way. And it doesn't have to be just with monarchs. Look, it's that way in the Republic of the United States of America, what they call a democracy, which is not supposed to be. We spend half the year working for the government. And what do we get from it? The removal of our lives, spying on citizens, and acting in a way that is contrary to the will of the people. We fought a civil war for lesser reason than what our government is doing to us now. Consolidated power. So I was illustrating for you. I had some other passages I was going to read, but I'm afraid I'd run out of time. But that suffices it. Look, that's what happens when you consolidate power. Right? Remember the Tower of Babel? All the world was coming together and speaking one language, and they were going to build a tower to reach up to the heavens. And the Lord looked down and he was not pleased. He knew that when men came together globally, evil would accelerate. So God put a stop to it and divided the nations by giving them various tongues. And he put an end to that nonsense. Well, see, the Lord has some wisdom. We don't have any common sense. We're running towards the Tower of Babel. We want to make the world one big Tower of Babel. One nation. John Lennon's dream. Also the dream of the communists. No more nation. Oh, we can't go to war. Oh, instead we can have civil wars all over the planet. What's the difference? Men are going to still kill each other and steal from each other if they can get away with it. Consolidating power is just going to make it easier for the most powerful to do that, and we won't be able to do anything about it. Look, when I left off on Monday, I was reading to you an ad that was put out by the World Economic Forum. The World Economic Forum is backed by some of the most powerful people and institutions in the world. If you don't believe me, when I'm done reading this ad to you, I'll read you some of the names that are backing the World Economic Forum. But you can go on YouTube and just type in, "You'll own nothing and be happy," World Economic Forum, or WEF. WEF, "You'll own nothing and be happy." Now, you'll find all sorts of hits where people are talking about it. I'd rather just have you watch the ad that the World Economic Forum put out. It's only 2 or 3 minutes long. The first picture is of a smiling millennial. He has a beard, a mustache, but he's a young guy, smiling. He looks all so pleasant. And then the caption reads, "You'll own nothing and you'll be happy." That doesn't sound right. If you owned nothing, would you be happy? If you owned nothing, do you think that would make you happy? Well, that young man's smiling. He must be happy with the idea. You'll own nothing and you'll be happy. And there's a millennial smiling. Yeah, that sounds great. It says 8 predictions for the world in 2030. It shows the world from outer space. Very wonderful picture, the sun coming up over the crescent of the earth. It says 8 predictions for the world in 2030. Frame number 1, you'll own nothing and be happy. You know, that sounds like an order. You'll own nothing and you will be happy with it. And I think that's how they actually mean it. Anyway, you'll own nothing and be happy. You swallow that? I don't. The next block shows a picture of a drone dropping a package on someone's front door. And it says, whatever you want, you'll rent. And it'll be delivered by drone. And all the millennials say, whoa, that's like a sci-fi. Won't that be cool? Like, whatever I want. It's just going to drop. I don't have to get in a car and go anywhere. They'll just drop it at my front door. Oh, yeah. Oh, that's so great. That'll be cool, yeah. Whatever you want, you'll rent. Wait a minute now. You'll own nothing and be happy. Everything you need, you'll rent. Now, wait a minute. There's a lot of things in the world. There's clothes, there's machinery, there's automobiles, there's houses, there's real estate, there's businesses, there's tools. You'll own none of it. And whatever you need, you'll have to rent. Oh, wait a minute. So if nobody owns anything, what happens to all this real estate? These tools, the clothes on your back? Well, someone else owns them. So wait a minute. In this great transition of the Great Reset, all assets in the world will go into the pocket of some powerful entity that will now rent everything in the world to everybody in the world. You need it, you rent it, they own it now. How's that sound? Where do you think that will lead? Well, we just keep watching the ad. The next block shows a picture of New York City, and the caption reads, "The U.S. won't be the world leading superpower." That makes them happy, you know. Remember, the very first frame here reads 8 predictions for the world in 2030. That's 8 years from now. The U.S. won't be the world leading economic superpower. Well, hip hip hooray, says the World Economic Forum. And there's a reason it has to be true. No independent thinking. The next frame shows, so it says the U.S. won't be the world leading superpower. The next frame has, it looks like outside the UN, all the flagpoles flying with the flags of every nation. In the center of the photo is the communist red Chinese flag. To its right, yes, there is the American flag. The American flag is partially hid by the Chinese flag, and it's very obvious the American flag is not the center of the picture. The communist Chinese flag is the center. Sorry about that. I'm reading this off my phone. My phone's ringing. Hey, Chris, I can't answer you. I'm making a YouTube. Let me turn this volume down. That'll take care of that. All right, so it's obvious. If the U.S. won't be the world leading superpower, who's going to be? It's pretty obvious they plan on the red communist Chinese. And you'll be happy. Really? The next picture is a picture of red meat, uncooked. Looks tasty. The caption reads, "You'll eat much less meat." Well, here we go. We can't have testosterone floating through the universe. That creates independent thinking and drive. No, 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 no. They have an agenda. They don't want you eating meat. The next frame shows a very peaceful forest setting with the sun dappling through the trees. And it says, an occasional treat, speaking of meat, an occasional treat, not a staple. For the good of the environment, you gotta be kidding. For the good of the environment and our health. We can all eat sticks and twigs and wear skinny jeans and have the hair hanging our face and look like dweebs. I don't want any men around saying, hey, what is this nonsense? Just saying. Then it shows a picture of looks like a parched earth in a desert. You know, the ground's all cracked and dry. There's not an ounce of moisture, nothing growing out of it. It's just looks like a lunar surface, you know. And it says 1 billion people will be displaced by climate change. 1 billion. Oh, they got great plans for us, I see. And then it has a picture of some sort of protest sign. It says, refugees welcome. And the caption reads, we'll have to do a better job at welcoming and integrating refugees. And that's meant to say there will be no more borders, no more nationalism, no America first. Then it shows an oil well, someplace in Texas probably. You know, they're drilling for oil in some field. And the caption reads, there will be a global price on carbon. This will help make fossil fuels history. No more fossil fuels. That's meant to destroy the West and to destroy all sorts of nations and bring the people into poverty, eliminate the middle class, and make them have their hands out, and they will do what the global government, will tell them to do. The next picture shows some smokestacks with some horrible smoke coming out of them, and it says polluters will have to pay to emit carbon dioxide. And then it shows Mars, and it looks like a satellite or a spaceship flying over the edge of Mars in outer space. And the caption reads, "You could be preparing to go to Mars." Wait a minute, they just said 1 billion people will be displaced by climate change. Well, if they're displaced, where are they going? Ship them off the Earth to Mars? Oh, but yeah, but this is all exciting. You could be preparing, you could be preparing to go to Mars, not astronauts. You could be preparing to go to Mars. The next scene shows another scene from outer space looking at Mars. And it says, scientists will have worked out how to keep you healthy in space. The start of a journey to find new alien life? Oh, it's all so exciting. You do get it. Everything's going to be owned by the elite. The masses will be shipped off the planet. And don't worry, it's going to be great. And you're going to be like a discoverer. Maybe you'll discover aliens from outer space. You think the ruling elite are going to be going to Mars? Oh, no. You can eat bugs. They'll ship you some bugs, right? That's the new thing. No eating meat, but you can eat bugs. Bugs are really good. Yeah, you'll be eating bugs. You know what they'll be eating down on Earth? Red meat. Don't let them kid you. And then it shows a picture of a park in like Central Park or something. And this is meant to calm you down in case you're getting suspicious. Checks and balances that underpin our democracies must not be forgotten. Get out of here. Now here's the killer to me. It shows a heavily traveled sidewalk scene in a city, probably like New York. You can see a McDonald's sign in the back. And just a mass of people walking up and down. Humanity, an urban shot. And it says, Western values will have been tested to the breaking point. We have to die. Western civilization has to die. The faith of Christ has to go away. This is going to be a global plantation, and there's not room for everybody. There's only so many resources. Guess who gets to have it? Oh, the ruling elite that governs over the proletariat. What happens to the proletariat? Well, some of them are going to be shipped off to another planet. They can eat bugs. Now, this crazy Marxist, anti-Christian, globalist, evil idea, which is going to be premised on the fake science of global warming and the world's going to blow up if we don't stop using gasoline immediately. These liars have a plan for the world. And it means the United States has to get in the back of the bus. No more John Wayne. No more John Wayne. But we're going to have Justin Trudeau's instead. Now you say, but that's a crazy plan, the World Economic Forum. You know, when you hear the politicians talk about Davos, they're talking about that. Davos. Do you want to hear some of the people and institutions that support and back the World Economic Forum? You think it's just a handful of some crazy people? All right. Well, how about starting with Prime Minister Justin Trudeau of Canada? He's all behind it. How about someone like Bill Gates? Look, these are the rich, the famous, and the powerful, and the politically connected. How about, as far as the famous go, Leonardo DiCaprio? Oh, yeah, he's all for this. You say, well, certainly not president leaders. Well, yeah. How about Joe Biden? Joe Biden supports this. His plan is the Great Reset. And he verbally stands up for the World Economic Forum. George Bush did too, the big phony. I'm talking about George W. Bush. Of course, his father did as well. But George W. Bush, the great Christian, yeah. Obama, Angela Merkel, all the world leaders. You name them. Now, Trump went and spoke at the World Economic Forum, but he did it for a different reason. Just like Hillary Clinton did. And the World Economic Forum came about through the efforts, in large part, of Mikhail Gorbachev, the communist. But when Trump went there, he let them have it. He gave them an anti-World Economic Forum message because he just wanted to go and smash them in the face to face. Because, he likes a good fight. He likes a good street fight. And he likes to go there. And so that's different. These others, oh no, they felt honored. It was a pleasure. And they're on board with the program. Bono, the likes of John Kerry, Secretary of State. Oh, no surprise there. Mr. Climate Change. Facebook CEO Sheryl Sandberg. Oh, these are not nobody people. The CEO of Microsoft. Virgin Corporation head Richard Branson. No, this is not just some small clique of nobodies. How about some of the banks and the financial institutions that are backing this insane, globalist, anti-American, anti-people, anti-Christian revolution? What are some of the powers behind it? How about Bank of America? How about Bank of China? Oh, Bank in America, Bank of China. On the same page here. Barclays, PayPal, Citigroup, Deutsche Bank, Goldman Sachs, the Saudi National Bank, JP Morgan, MasterCard, Visa, Morgan Stanley, NASDAQ, the New York Stock Exchange, TD Bank Corporation, Western Union, the World Bank, of course, and on it goes. You realize what I'm describing to you, don't you? It's a full court press, and they're playing for keeps. When you go to the voting booth, you better be careful. You better make sure you don't vote for a single person who backs some of this stuff. And by the way, there are certain Republicans that back this stuff too. It isn't just the radical Democrats. So we have issues. Yeah, we have issues. Well, it's all laid out in Scripture. When men come together and consolidate power, this is what happens. It's happening to us now. The medical tyranny. Oh, when it came to COVID, we have to ban therapeutics. Heaven forbid that a doctor use some discretion, as he always has used discretion, and use medicines off-label as a therapeutic. Oh, no, we can't do that. We got to just do everything to destroy Trump. It's pure evil. It's pure evil. But I will remind you, the Lord Jesus Christ rules the nations of the earth with a rod of iron. He sees what they do, and everybody has to give an answer for the deeds done in the body. And that includes these world leaders. The Lord sees, and the Lord will judge. But until he does, we're his representatives on earth as believers. So let's stand up for what is right and true and pray for your nation. And when you can, act like a Christian, but act. Well, look, I'm out of time. I've got to go. Let me thank you for watching. This is Jim Gallagher, reminding you in the words of our blessed Lord and Savior, ye shall know the truth shall make you free.